Hello, everyone. I thank the organizers for having me in the IEEE Flaps Conference 2021. I am Granch Berhe, a doctoral researcher at the University of Ghent in Belgium under the supervision of Professor Lieva van Langenhove, Dr. Kinde Anlay Fante, and Dr. Berhe Malengier. My presentation is about a dry electroencephalography electrode developed from a PEDOT PSS PDMS-Coated cotton fabric for brain activity monitoring. Electroencephalography, shortened as EEG, is a technique used to measure electrical activity of the brain. Modern applications of brain-computer interfaces-based EEG measurements rely heavily on the so-called weight electrodes. For instance, the silver chloride electrodes, which require gel applications and skin preparations to operate properly. The skin preparations produce abrasive lesions in some subjects, and the application of conductive gel or a post-reduced electrode to skin impedance mismatch drives over time. For long-term monitoring, due to the change in humidity, the variations in the gel impedance cause artifacts. Furthermore, skin preparations and gel applications are time-consuming when a high number of electrodes is required. For instance, for epilepsy monitoring. These limitations caused a high demand for more comfortable and user-friendly dry electrodes. Dry electrodes could have several advantages over wet ones, such as the signal intensity and size of the electrode. However, the commercial dry electrodes are heavy in weight and have rigid structures, which make them again unsuitable for wearable purpose. This in turn led to the emergence of textile-based dry electrodes, or the Textrode. For instance, a copper-plated polyester fabric EEG electrode and a silver-plated knitted nylon spandex textile electrode that gave similar signals to commercially available EEG electrodes for EEG monitoring have been reported. These workers explored the feasibility of textrodes for EEG application. However, they did not report the actual characteristics of the electrodes if they really own characteristics of a normal textile material. As a textile material, it is necessary to evaluate the mechanical properties, and as an electrically conductive material, it is also important to evaluate the electrical properties such as the electrical resistance. In addition, though metal particles could be possible to develop conductive textile fabrics, the flexibility is always compromised. As a solution, the conductive polymers and their composites could be potentially used. Among them, PEDOT PSS PDMS could be used for biopotential sensors because of its acceptable electrical conductivity and biocompatibility. Thus, in this work, a flexible electroconductive textile material was developed and used to construct an EEG electrode. Apparently, we have also used a similar fabric to construct ECG electrodes in our previous work, and of course, we have found a remarkable result on it. So PDMS and PEDOT PSS were used to produce the conductive polymer composite and applied on a knitted cotton fabric via screen printing to obtain a flexible conductive textile fabric. The mechanical and electrical properties of the developed conductive fabric are as shown in this table. The fabric owns the normal characteristics of a textile material and it conducts electricity. Then a 2-centimeter diameter circular PEDOT PSS PDMS coated cotton fabric was constructed and placed on a non-conductive foam to ensure the conductive fabric is sufficiently pressed against the skin on the active sides of the electrode. This size was chosen because the team of Pertinan reported that textile electrodes gave a lower signal to noise level at a diameter of 2 centimeters. The skin-to-electrode impedance of the textile-based electrode was measured per the technique suggested by the open BCI community and compared against a commercial dry electrode. The measurement was conducted at 10 Hz frequency for 2 minutes and an average value was taken. For the EEG measurement, 5 electrodes, 3 active and 2 references were placed on the frontal according to the 1020 EEG placement system. A tight-fitting headband constructed from an elastic bandage was used to hold the electrodes in the required positions. Then the EEG waveforms were recorded using an open BCI board and sent to PC through Bluetooth module. After that, graphs of event-related spectral perturbations phase for the EEG signals acquired from both the Textrode and commercial dry electrode were generated using EEG lab software and compared each other. The average peak-to-peak voltage of 3 active electrodes at 10 Hz frequency were 80.76 microvolt for the Textrode and 77.61 microvolt for the commercial dry electrode. The skin-to-electrode impedance of the Textrode was slightly higher than the commercial dry electrode, almost by 12%. However, it is still good enough to measure EEG signals as the impedance is 3.62 kilo ohm, which is much lower than the desired skin-to-electrode impedance for biopotential electrodes, that is 5 kilo ohm. Moreover, the impedance decreased with time. That may be because sweat could play an electrolyte effect. Therefore, this textile Textrode could be potentially used for brain activity monitoring, especially for wearable applications. From the open BCI board, the Textrode collected EEG signals comparable to the dry silver chloride electrode. Moreover, it also gives a similar range of main EEG bandwidths from delta to gamma. The average amplitude was the same for both the Textrode and the commercial dry electrode, which was around 1.35 microvolt. This graph compares the event-related spectral perturbation response of the textile electrode with the response of the commercial-based electrode. In the frequency range from 1 to 50, the responses are identical. Besides, the log power spectral density is the same for both the electrodes, which is around 95 decibel. Therefore, this Textrode could be a potential alternative to replace the heavyweight and stiff commercial dry electrodes. As a conclusion, the demand for more comfortable and user-friendly electrodes has led to the development of an increasing number of dry electrodes that can overcome the limitations of wet electrodes. However, the commercially available dry electrodes have heavyweight and rigid structures, which makes them unsuitable for making wearable sensors. Therefore, introducing textile-based dry electrodes could possibly overcome the problems associated with both wet and metal-based dry electrodes. In this work, we have successfully developed a new EEG Textrode, which is a real textile-based EEG electrode from a PEDOT PSS PDMS-Coated cotton fabric that owns the characteristics of normal textile fabrics and acceptable skin-to-electrode impedance. Moreover, it can able to collect EEG signals comparable to commercial dry electrodes and showed a similar power spectral density. Thus, this Textrode can be used for brain activity monitoring and to detect brain-related disorders in wearable applications. And it does not need a joule to achieve a connection to the skin. These were the references that we have used. I thank you very much for your attention.